Hello, everybody, and welcome to another one of Squatter's Never Viewed Rambling Reviews. Huh. Suppose I should call this series that. Be very self-descriptive. Oh, well, you take what you can get. Alrighty, let's get right into it. The last game that I played is obviously Ys 5, the fifth game in the series, or I guess you could call it the sixth game because there were two fours. Not even sure, actually. Huh. Alrighty, well, we'll call it Ys 5 because that's what everybody else calls it. Everybody else calls it Ys 5, but the tagline or the moniker is different according to several different people. I originally thought it was the Sand City of Kefin, Ys 5, the Sand City of Kefin. That's what I labeled all of my screenshots when I did a very, very early playthrough several years ago, probably when the translation patch was first released, and that's what I thought it was called throughout the whole time, and now I'm looking at this, and it says Wikipedia calls it Ys 5 Lost Kefin, Kingdom of Sand. Okay, interesting. But then other YouTube reviewers are calling it Kefin, the Lost City of Sand. I mean, it's kind of strange, or the Lost City of Sand. Um, so I just think it's probably a translation issue, honestly. Uh, I don't know what the original designers were hoping to call it. I think that different names and different words got mixed up or switched out, but you know whatever. I mean, that was just a kind of a point of confusion for me. I was thinking, well, are there different versions? And I mean, there are. There's an Ys 5 Expert mode that was released a little while later. It made the game harder, interestingly enough. Again, me, I don't like action platformers, and this game is an action platformer for the most part. I mean, it does have RPG elements, but it is at heart an action platformer. Uh, it's very light. It's a very light action platformer at heart, but again, I hate platform jumping. I hate having to time this or time that, or at one point in the game you'd fall into a waterfall, and then you'd be carried back downstream, or you're running around in a desert and the wind would be too strong for you and you'd be blown away and everything. That kind of pissed me off, right? And it's just little things like that. I mean, it's like you kind of stick to a genre, and there's a little bit of wiggle room in there, but you don't kind of break away from it that much. So, but yeah, no. So it's just those are my comments on the action platforming system. Now, when people talk about jumping, they say that it doesn't add a whole lot of dynamics to the game. And I would agree with them for the most part, honestly. They say that usually you just hop up onto different ledges in the same area to try and get to the end of the hallway, because that's pretty much what every single portion of the game is, other than the dungeons. But I would say that I played this game before, and I guess I might have forgotten it, but I read some reviews of this game, and they were only saying how the jumping was for getting onto different ledges and stuff. Well, I forgot at several points in the game that you needed to jump up and attack certain bosses, right? You'll see this later in my playthrough if you ever watch it. So it took me a while to figure that out. I was kind of working it through my head ever so slowly. But no, yeah. So the game here, I mean, it's pretty much like every other Ys game in the series. I mean, it's on the Super Nintendo, just like, well, I guess the third and fourth one were, I believe, Mask of the Sun and Wanderers from Ys, in their little different streamlined versions that differed from what I would consider canon, the PC Engine versions. So I mean, the graphics, they're okay. I mean, they're not awful. I mean, for 1995, I would have expected a little bit better. I mean, they have some well-drawn cutscenes, but they're fleeting and not very common. They don't have a whole lot of frames of animation either. But they do their job, honestly. But I mean, everything just seems very drab about the graphics. Honestly, there's a lot of gray. There's a lot of stone. I mean, there's grassy areas and forested areas, but I mean, Like all the temples are just rock and stone and rock and stone and dark, and inside houses it's all wood and everything. I don't know. It just kind of got boring a lot of the time. And so again, I'm playing a translated version of this, so I might not be getting the whole story, or I might, the translators might have taken liberties with what originally was said. So all I can really talk about is what I saw. I think, as far as I can tell, they kept faithful to the storyline. Adel Christian, or Kristen, or whatever his name is, however you want to say it, he's off on his next adventure, off on his next adventure. Always an adventure, he's finished with one, he doesn't stick around, he doesn't even fucking have a cigarette after, it's like he's fucking women, it's like, fuck him and chuck him, that's Adel's view of adventuring, you know, just fucking ram into it, get through it, and fuck off, Uh, that's how this character is written to live his life. So, I mean, it kind of, I don't know, it doesn't really make him seem human or relatable, honestly. Kind of makes him look more like a machine, look and feel more like an emotionless automaton, I don't know. He doesn't have any emotional baggage there, don't you know? But, yeah, so basically the backstory is, the way I understand it is, there is now again I have to go back to the name of the game, because when they were saying Kefin, Sand City of Kefin, or Lost Kingdom of Sand, I to me it was not clear as to whether or not Kefin was ever a desert kingdom. And I thought that I heard several times, or read several times throughout the game, that the entire kingdom was made of gold. I thought it was a golden city of Kefin that was maybe in a desert, and this desert is rapidly spreading throughout this physical world. They call it the physical world because there was a seal broken, and this one magician sent this lady back, Nienna, uh, to try and fix this ancient seal. Now, whatever this seal was, it's never really explained as far as I can tell. I mean, there's another magician or something, Stoker, I think his name is. Um Again, I'm trying to remember this. There's a lot of characters in this game, and they just seem to come out of nowhere. And he and this other lady, I don't know. Eh, it's really disjointed, honestly. It's kind of hard to follow. Um, Maybe I'll just hit up something here. Alrighty. Nope, I guess not. Where he hears of the vanished desert city of Kefin, and I don't even know how to pronounce that either. He sets off to investigate the ancient city's disappearance. Boy, that's quite the blurb there, huh? You want to give me a slightly less abridged version, but whatever. So, and later on, like, you only figure out what the hell's going on at the very, very end of the game, and this lady, she has lost her memory, and I don't know why the original magician who sent her back hadn't realized that this would happen. I mean, uh, and why would you only send one person back and somebody so vulnerable? I mean, to me, it just doesn't make any sense, right? I don't know. Maybe he's inept, a bumbling fool, probably. Well, it's all his fault that this is happening, anyways. Uh, so and then Adol comes around, and he, of course, as I said, he hears about this ancient city, and they say that this ancient city of Kefin is kind of, I don't know. They say that it's in like an ethereal world or something. Like it was like teleported out of time 500 years ago and has basically been locked in time throughout that entire time. Uh, and I'm not entirely sure why that happened. But so everybody in this kingdom basically exists outside of space and time, and they're all essentially 500 years older when the city was teleported away. So there's a fleeting moral dilemma at the end of the game where they say, oh, if Kefin, like in the physical world, collide, then all of these people here will age 500 years in the span of a single second. It'll be so painful, and they'll all die and everything. But then they say, oh, wait, don't worry, we've got a plan, so we'll teleport them out of here, and everything will be hunky-dory. Cool, tickety-boo, right? No issues with that. I guess everybody has a good time. So, but yeah, no, again, game is very similar to every other East series. You are missing, of course, the central, well, somewhat central character of Dogi, or I know your real name, Dogi. Colin. Yeah, that's right. I'm calling it that. I'm calling it that. Fuckers. So yeah, he's not in here, and I don't know why. I mean, it seems to me that Nihon Falcom, which was the company that I think both developed and published this game, the first game that in this series that they both developed and published. Uh, I don't know why they didn't use him, because I think that they had the rights to all those characters, and I mean, even just to have like a cameo of him would have just been, I don't know, a bit useful or something. So you didn't have to journey out of every single dungeon, going back over the incredibly repetitive and confusing stairwells and doors and everything. You could have just had that fucker just ram his way through everything, and then hey, cool, thanks, bud. But no, doesn't seem to work that way. So I thought that one of the central adversaries of this game was a guy called Doorman, or Dorman, I don't know. I guess the name sounds more menacing in Japanese. To me, it sounds like, well, a doorman. Uh, he's this hoity-toity, fruity guy with a stupid slick-back haircut, as far as I can tell from his character model, who wears a lame pink or purple robe, and he tells Adol to get all of these crystals for him. And there's everybody's talking about the Sand City of Kefin, and he's did you really believe I was collecting the crystals to help the people of Xandria? Blah ha ha. Well, no, I didn't. I mean, you're pretty much the archetypal the archetypal enemy. That was it was quite obvious from the beginning. I knew something was up, anyways. But then, like this, I don't know, like there's this other character named Ritzy here. She's this weird gray-haired lady, and you meet her at the beginning of the game, and she gets these guards off of you that are harassing you, and she is one of the main adversaries because Dorman dies practically like 75% of the way through the game, right? I mean, you kill him as basically like a minor boss, honestly. He has all the crystals and he tries to activate them, but then this Eber gang, these gang of fucking assholes that are a thorn in your side throughout the entire game, but then turn out to be sort of good guys. Because, I don't know, you just kind of happen to fall into place. You're both fighting the same bad guy for whatever reason, and they say, "Oh, I gave him a fake crystal." Blah, ha, ha, ha. Okay, Deus Ex Machina right there. And I mean, the entire thing is pointless because Ritzy takes over anyways after you kill this doorman guy. And they were saying that there's this weird alchemist. Everything is alchemy about this game. They said that Kefin holds the secret of alchemy and everything. I don't know, it seems to me that there are a lot of people who know alchemy in this game, and they're not Kefinian, I guess you could call them. You can walk up to these guys in tents and houses, and they'll make flux stones for you. They'll take your little collected earth, water, fire, wind, light, and darkness. I'm probably missing something. These little runes, and they'll mix them together into spells. I don't think I ever used any of them. Maybe I used them once, honestly, and because you know what, I'm sort of like a run and gun kind of guy. I mean, if it's an action platformer, then I'm a run and gun kind of guy. And again, of course, I was using cheats, right? Booyah, because I want to fucking play the game for the story that I forget. Interesting. Oh well, I can have my footage to fall back on and watch over again if I ever care. But yeah, no, honestly, I mean, it's just dungeon after dungeon, really. I mean, I don't know, the plot just kind of comes out of nowhere. It meanders for a while, and these Eber gang kind of show up once in a while, and then they fuck off, and then I don't know. It always pissed me off when they say, "Hey, yeah, let's get going. Hey, Adol, don't fall too far behind." And then they run away, and then essentially, as far as the game is concerned, they're all the way at the end of the dungeon, like in a second, right, in a millisecond. And of course, you have to fucking journey through all of these fucking perils and shit. I mean, it's bullshit, man. That's fucking retarded. I hate it. Why can't we be the ones to fucking run ahead and have like programmer's power and just end up wherever we felt like it? But yeah, no, I mean the there's portions of the game that kind of use like scaling and rotation and stuff. Oh, I think this is the guy right here. This uh, let's say Jabir. This is the. I don't know if he's the main bad guy. Again, I can't tell you who the main adversary of the game is. Is it Ritzy because she dies after Jabir? But I mean, I think Jabir is basically the last boss that you fight. I don't know, man. It's weird. He wants to. Uh, he they say that they have to sacrifice the people of Kefin to keep it aloft or something, to keep it working or something. And I don't know. I think like in a 500-year-old city where nobody comes in or leaves, you'd be running out of people, pretty quickly, right? Because I mean, from what we've seen, they take like 10 people and they slaughter them, or they use like this weird kind of electrical device that basically it's like Carousel from Logan's Run. That's what I thought it was like. You like stand on a platform, shoots you with like an aura, like a laser aura, and it says, "Oh, you have been chosen." Some stupid shit like that. I have no idea. We'll know the true strength of Kefin. Yeah, whatever. The stone. Oh, the Philosopher's Stone. That's right. They keep on yelling about this Philosopher's Stone. And I don't even know. Again, it's a plot point that comes out of nowhere. I can't tell you what this Philosopher's Stone is. Like, I don't think you ever get it in your inventory, or or like I just never seen it. I don't know what it is. I mean, I thought it was the whole point of the game was to collect all of these crystals. Like, uh, and Doorman takes a few of them, and you go and gather a few more, but it's like I think you give him 2 crystals already before you realize he's evil. And then I think, well, like then they say, oh well, you only need these few more crystals left, and I think, yeah, well, don't we need to get the crystals back from this fucker? I don't know. It's like it's really really weird, honestly. Um, yeah, so Nina, yeah, she's a Kfinian. She's gone for 500 years, and why it was sealed away to begin with. This place holds the power to wipe out all creation. Yep, yep. Same old story. How can you even say that, foolish girl? Yeah, that's great writing. Yeah. Judgment, that's what they call it, and sacrifice to the stone. Yeah. Boy, this is a violent stone, not like the Philosopher's Stone in Harry Potter, or the Philosopher's Stone in Indiana Jones and the Philosopher's Stone. I don't know, honestly. I don't know if that. I don't know which came first. I mean, the book. I'm going off on a tangent here. The book. Uh, Harry Potter came out in 1997. Then the Indiana Jones book came out in 1995, and I think this was 1994, 1995. So I don't know if they actually called it the Philosopher's Stone, like if they kind of translated that phonetically from English into Japanese, if they called it the Philosopher's Stone exactly, or if that's just a liberty that they that, that the translators took with describing just what the hell was going on. So yeah, and I mean, like, there are other, like, little mini bosses, like, Carrion is one of them. And I think Stein, this guy who finds Nienna originally in this game, I think he just cleaves him in half with a saber, and I'm just like, okay, well, I mean, it's less time wasted on another repetitive boss battle and everything. But, I don't know. I'm going on about this game here. I'm just looking through my old screenshots. Just, Stoker, Foresta, like that was his little girlfriend, right? And then again, like Stoker has a bracelet or something that's the thing that they use to save all the people from Kefin from dying from like the way the was he a Nazi in the Last Crusade when he doesn't drink from the right cup and he just ages right there, ages into a skeleton. Um, yeah, so I'm just not sure. Like, there are a lot of people in this game, and you forget like who's who, honestly. And there's you have like cutscenes in which Stoker and Foresta are in this weird place that you actually go to, and Foresta is for some reason frozen in like crystal ice for like 500 years, and Stoker's like a ghost or something, I don't know. And then like it seems that later on in the game, it seems that for whatever reason, you go back in time and stop, Stoker and Foresta from being attacked by all these soldiers. You go back 500 years and you fix everything. And then it's like I don't know if they realize what happened, like if that was outside of space time or if it's something known to the characters. But I just don't know. It's a really convoluted, confusing story, if you ask me. Um, and at the end, Kefin basically dissolves into nothing. It's basically portrayed as a massive floating city above the clouds. And again, all I can think of, like, I thought it was made of gold, and why do they call it Sand City of Kefin when you look at it, there is greenery everywhere on there, other than where the cobblestone is. There are trees and everything. It's really really weird. Um, yeah, I mean, you meet up with all your friends at the end, and there's this stupid kid named Willie who, I don't know, he's just fodder for quests. He just gets in trouble and you have to save him. It's really fucking boring. He's like that other guy in fucking um, what is it? Dawn of East. Like, he turns to stone and shit, and you have to save him. I can't even remember his name. Uh, So yeah, again, it's just basically rehash after rehash, honestly, and there's just not a whole lot new to this game, and I don't know what else I can say. And at the end, Adol just runs away. He just trudges down a grassy field, and he just keeps on going, and everything. They just say, "I pray he will become the greatest adventurers." And then what does this say? Kefin, the Phantom City, okay, now it's called the Phantom City, collapsed into dust as time caught up to it. Thanks to the actions of one brave young man, the evil scheme from 500 years ago was thwarted. Courage, an adventurous spirit, and a bold will. That man had these rare traits in abundance. I suspect many more adventures await him. Yeah, well, as long as there's money for the series, I would say so, and there were several more. Okay. Now, one really strange thing is that, well, it's kind of neat. You can change the color of your outfit, in a minuscule way. Um, you can just like you can't change the color of your armor, just like your sort of jumpsuit or body glove or whatever it's called. But if you go around in a place called Felt and you talk to a guy behind a building, you can actually gain the it looks like a hacked ability to change the color of your hair, because it's all kanji font, I think, or katakana or maybe hiragana font in the options menu. So it hasn't been properly translated or anything, but it's kind of you know weird. You change the color of your hair. It can be like deep blue, and then they say, "Oh, you have red hair," and everything, and you think, it kind of pulls me out of the immersion of the story there. But whatever, I changed it a couple times throughout the game, played with a bunch of different colors of clothes and hair, just to just to. So, but yeah, no. There's just not a whole lot more to say. And again, there's so many people. There's Chase, and they're like these partisan guys that are run by Stein and everything. Then there's Olga and Tara, and there's these two guys that are with them, Dios and I don't know, some other guy. I'm looking through the screenshots here. Well, no worries. Sean? Is that the guy's name? Oh, no, I don't know. There's just so many people here. Um, but yeah, no, honestly, there's just not a whole lot different. Orwell, that's the guy's fucking name. He's the leader of the partisans. Orwell, and he's the magician that sent Nienna back to, or forward into the physical realm to try and fix this fucking thing. And I don't know. Yeah, the bad guys just come out of nowhere. They have very little to do with each other. They have very little dialogue scenes with each other. I think Doorman and Ritzy meet a grand total of maybe 2 times, honestly. Um, and Jabir, again, he only comes out in the end. He is not active enough in the plot uh, to be a grand adversary, right? To be a main adversary. And again, Ritzy, like, you never fight her. She just dies along with Kefin. She just fades away into nothing. So I don't know. It's poorly written. There's not a whole lot new to it, and it's just a very average experience. I just played it. I don't know why. It was a waste of time, really. I just played it just because I wanted to kind of complete, as of right now, playable portion of the series that I can do right now. I do have an actual copy of Ys Ark of Napishtam for my PS2, but and there seem to be console cheats for it as well by striking a bunch of colored crystals. So I'll consider whether or not I play that game, or maybe I'll do something completely different. I don't know. So yeah, the game just ends with Adol standing in a grassy field with Fae written there in stylized letters. And, well, that's pretty much all I can say without rambling and repeating myself over and over again about Ys 5 Sand City of Kefin, or whatever the shit you want to call it. Uh-oh. No, well, I certainly hope everything is okay. No, I'm just looking at my recording program here. Guess I'll cut it off here, so thanks for listening. This has been Skwatter rambling about Ys 5. I'll see you next time after I play another game, and alright, peace out. Skwatter out. See you later.